All right, so we're joined by my friend, Amber Jones, local entrepreneur, multiple business owner here in Jackson area, founder and model and brand ambassador and operator of um, uh, for Forever Royalty, foreverroyalty.com, the Royal Getaway, as well as other business ventures. So we thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we had you last year and it was really good. So we're glad to have you back. So we got a room full here with us at Velma Jackson. It's our entrepreneurship class, and we're recording this for our friends at Germantown High School, Ridgeland High School, and our YouTube channel. So thank you again. Now before we get into what all it is you do on an everyday basis with your multiple businesses, tell us how this all started. Now you are from Jackson, and you grew into this now young multiple business owner entrepreneur.
Yeah. I am from Jackson. So my dad actually does t-shirts. My whole life he's been a printer. He's done Jackson State t-shirts, all the JPS schools, and I used to swear I would never be if I decided to do entrepreneurship, it would definitely not be t-shirts because I was over t-shirts. But then in 2016, I did feel led to get into t-shirts because I just didn't see a lot of t-shirts made for specifically people of color to be able to express ourselves in ways that only we, can. So that's how that one got started. By profession, I guess you can say, I am a classical pianist. And so doing piano and singing growing up allowed me to travel. My first ever flight was to Australia. Like literally, like it's just all that I've ever done is basically travel and performing. So when the world shut down, I, like everybody else, was stuck in the house, and it was lonely. I hated being stuck in the house. So during that time, my t-shirt brand really took off, but me because I didn't have anything else, really to like do. But I really wanted to get back into traveling. So once the world opened back up in 2021 and I gave birth to my child, I was like, you know what? It's time to get back into traveling. And you always do everybody else's travel. Why not book travel? So that's how I started.
And operating both businesses at the same time. All right. So with Forever Royalty, well, like I said, we were looking at the website and looking at some of your products, and it is almost 100% geared toward Black women. With also has accessories and jewelry as well. So talk a little bit about you talked about why you got into that particular niche, but talk about how you operate it, because it's there's other people now selling t-shirts. So what do you do to stand out from the rest of your competition?
So my brand specifically works with other stylists, influencers in order to get them show people how to wear a t-shirt. Anybody can make a t-shirt. Anybody can find t-shirts. You can Google black t-shirts and you're going to have 62 pages of just shirts literally geared toward what it is that you're looking for. But when you create a brand and relationships, so something my brand is not only for African American women, but specifically Christian women. So I post a lot of Christian based things. So when people find something that they can connect with you on, then it makes them more likely to buy from you, patronize your business. Because what I've learned is that 80% of the time they're buying you. Yes, it's a product, but they're buying because they like you, they like your brand, they like what it represents. And so that's what I think for the most part helps me to stand out from other people.
Yeah, and I've heard both arguments on this. Because we had another local entrepreneur in the fall who has a similar business, but she just opened a storefront in Jackson. And I know you are 100% online. You do some pop-ups at some events. But I've heard mixed reviews of pros and cons of both. So why have you decided to stay 100% online and pop up and not move toward the physical location yet?
I think that a brick and mortar business just has a lot more overhead. Yes, I have to have product and I have to, print, do all those things. But if you have an actual storefront, my online company is at my house. And one, that's a tax write-off. And then now I'm moving to more print on demand. So another will be print will fulfill the orders. So it's way less hands-on than I have to be. I can focus on, other businesses and other things. And then also I don't want to pay all those bills. It's a lot when you already have bills and then you're getting more bills, and people don't necessarily think about that. You got rent, you got lights, you got, all these other things. So no brick and mortar for me.
Yeah, and again, and what you gave was a great reason, because it all depends on how you want to balance, how you want to operate, because this was all her only business.
Yeah.
Said she liked having customers be able to come in and look and shop with tangible items, but at the same time, like you said, the cost can outweigh how you want to operate. So that is something to think about, because we have one of our students here. She's interested in getting into the boutique side, and if you have the physical location, the overhead cost and the startup cost are rather high. Now, that's not saying it can't be done, because it can be done,
It can
but
be.
it all depends on how you want to operate and what your goals are as a business owner. Now, last time, we really didn't talk about the Royal Getaway, so I'm curious myself on how a business like that works. Because even the kids before we came on were asking, like, well, how does that work? Or how does she book the travel? How does she do all that? So, talk a little bit about the Royal Getaway, because that's something you recently have started on top of Forever Royalty.
So the Royal Getaway, I had the thought to start in 2021, but I didn't actually get started until 2022. So it's not even a year old yet. But I love travel. People love travel. So when you think about hotels, it's like anybody can go to Expedia or booking.com, hotels.com, get a hotel, right? So once you become an agent, you can get paid from people going to doing things that they would have normally already done anyway.
Wow.
So you're already going to go to Expedia. Maybe you don't necessarily need an agent, but I can send you my link and you can still book that same hotel. And I get the commission from just being like, hey, use my link. But what it basically is, you have a client, you guys figure out, a destination that they want to do, how many days they want to be there, how they would like to fly, and then you just get to searching and looking, finding the best possible, for your client. You can do cars, you can do I have a group traveling to New York in May, 68 people.
Wow.
So they were gonna need a hotel anyway. So it's just, like, hey, your group is going. Do you think, you can book with me? I'll book your flights, I'll book your hotels, I'll book your excursions, and all of those things that they're gonna need anyway. Now you get revenue from doing something that, you do all the time.
So, so people are paying for the convenience of not having to search and book on their own.
Yeah, correct.
And then, but there's a big market for that, especially with people back traveling again after
Yeah.
COVID. People may not be in. I've been in New York, but I'm far from an expert. So if somebody or a big group has never been somewhere, they may not know what venues could accommodate them. They may not know what events are going on. So having somebody that has that is a very big market, especially with the new boom in travel across the country.
Without a doubt. It definitely puts travelers at ease to know that they don't have to do X, Y, and Z, especially as you said, because of post-pandemic. A lot of people some of them traveling for the very first time. So to know that I can go to Mexico, I can go to Jamaica, I can go to Australia and not have to worry, about where I'm going to stay, because that's tedious, through reviews and trying to find the best possible hotel. And all you have to do is, pay for the convenience of someone else doing it for you.
Wow. Now one thing, and we talked about this last time, but I always like hearing thoughts on this. And I know the kids are sick of me talking about this, but I think it's important because one thing that I've noticed, because we've had several kids come out of this class and start businesses, even if it's just a part-time, as a part-time entrepreneur. And the first thing they do is they start not charging enough because they're still in a high school mindset. And I immediately tell them, look, you have a good idea, but you're not charging enough. Because they're so worried about being the cheapest because they think people aren't going to buy from them. But it's like I say, you can price yourself out of a market into a new market. So what are some strategies that can be avoided? Because that is probably the number one mistake that I see a lot of young business owners, especially young Black business owners, making once they first get started.
So what I did when I first got started was I looked at the market. So I did my market research. I saw what established companies in the same field that I'm trying to get into, how much are they charging? Because it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your level of experience. If it is that I'm bringing you a quality product, the same as let's say another business, I'm going to price mine the exact same that other person has priced theirs. Because even if you are younger, that could be why people want to support you more, not support you less. Hey, I see this guy, he's talented, he's young, he's hungry, he's driven. Let me buy a shirt. Let me do this. Let me do that. People want to help you. Don't, cancel yourself out by saying like, oh, just throw me $10. And I have been there, like I completely understand, but that's not sustainable. And so when you are building a brand, you want to make sure that if the prices do push upward, it's a slow push. You can't come with a $10 shirt and then say in 6 months it's a $25 shirt. Because your customers who you have built, now they're thinking like, oh my gosh, he has super cheap shirts, like they're so low. And then all of a sudden it's $25. Then they're a bit confused by the brand. So charge your price and be okay. Your price is your price. Charge your price.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you're able to offer just a few small things, if people, and like I always say, if people will pay it, you need to charge it. And there are things you can do to justify a higher price. I mean, from product quality to customer service to shipping times to even shipping costs, because we always say sales is the ultimate mind game. You can say it's free shipping, but what the customer doesn't know, they've already paid for shipping.
You've already paid for it. And I will also add that charging less and not seeing the financial growth of that can change your mindset of your business. Because you're not seeing the revenue that you should be seeing, although you're putting in all this work. You're doing all these things to make sure that your company is exceptional, that the product is great, the quality is great, the customer service are great. It's great. And then but your bank account is not reflective of the work that you're putting in. That can make business owners be like, I'm just going to quit. When it really is, you're not charging enough money.
Absolutely. And that could be, because we had one young lady come out of here a few years ago, and she does amazing hair work. And I immediately told her, I was like, look, there ain't no way you're charging enough. I don't know anything about female hair, but I can tell you from what I've seen in your pictures to what you're charging, there is no way that's enough. And she did bump up a tad bit, and she's gradually gone up. But even if it's a part-time business, the price has to be reflective of the work you're putting in and the resources that you use. Now, before I get to the students' questions, also something else that I wanted to hit on is your marketing, because you are 100% online. And also something we noticed on your website that I thought was genius, and the kids didn't think about this. You have set business hours of when your business is open. So I was telling the kids, you need to have a dedicated way for you to get a hold of as an entrepreneur that's separate from the way family and friends get in touch with you. If you set that expectation, they see you're available, but they know when you're available. So that allows you to manage your different tasks, because it says on there 9 to 3. After 3 o'clock, that phone's going on do not disturb, and you can get to it the next day when they leave a message, or they can send an email and you get to it the next morning. So talk about that, because I think that's a great idea and you don't see that enough.
Having a child definitely changed my mindset of timing, how much I can allot for this into this into this. And when you are having multiple businesses, you notice that sometimes when your days, when they're not scheduled and they're not timed out, nothing really is getting done. You're kind of just all over the place. And from being a first time mom to now, I definitely noticed that my business was suffering because I was not able to fully commit the time that it needed. But that's because I wasn't scheduling everything. Everything was all together. Being able to say, hey, I'm going to do this task. This is all I'm going to work on, just royalty from 9 to 3 or from 10 to 2 on these days allows me to compartmentalize and only work on those things. And then the next day I work on, something else. I was just speaking about this last week, but I definitely think that more business owners should, because what we begin to see is burnout. But customers, if they see that you don't have business hours, or you're up, or say you're just scrolling on social media, see that you're online, they'll write you, they'll call you at 10 at night, 12 midnight, just insane hours where they clearly know that no business is open at this particular point in time. But when you're only an online business, the assumption is that you're 24 hours a day, and you don't have to be. You can definitely set time and protect your peace and say, you know what, after this time, I'm gonna have to get to it tomorrow.
Yeah, and in your marketing, you said on there, I open 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., 2 to 3 days, but you have to have it in that time frame. So setting that expectation in the customer's mind ahead of time, there's no confusion.
Yeah.
All right, so I do have some questions from the students, and these are all seniors. And
Okay, seniors.
this is a really good one here to start off with. This is Justin Clerk, and he asked, as a business owner, what is more important, consistency or quality?
Consistency or quality? Is Justin in the room? Can he explain what he means specifically by consistency?
What do you mean by consistency? Okay, he's asking, is it better to know what you're getting every time, or is it important to really have the perfect product every time?
I feel like if you have the quality, that is consistency. So if my quality is top tier, then the customer knows that regardless of what it is that I'm ordering, I know that if it's from Royaltee, I know it's going to be top tier quality product. So that will bring the consistency.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Now this is Shania Charleston, and you did talk a little bit about this, but she asked, obviously you saw a need for a Black-owned clothing business, but what made you focus on clothes and not something else?
I love a good t-shirt. I feel like everybody loves t-shirts, graphic tee, logo tees. We love t-shirts. T-shirts are simple, easy. They're something that you can quickly just throw on and go. So that for me, I'm a t-shirt girl. So that for me was where it started. I actually did try the boutique thing maybe 3 years ago, but it did not go well. And even though I have an amazing t-shirt line, I was, listening to other people. Even as an owner, sometimes people are always in your ear. Well, you have t-shirts, you add dresses, and you should add pants, you should add this, and you should add that. Then you look up and you're all this money, and it doesn't even go with your brand. So although there are customers out there who maybe they would have, wore it, but it didn't necessarily fit my brand.
Yeah.
And so I just promote my own branded items. But I do have some other things coming out. Like I have socks, so t-shirts, but let's see, I have like mugs coming out, but still my product So it's still going to be Black woman, culture, Christian, but just
That's awesome. But I think it's also important, you don't want to roll out too much, because if you start trying to please individual customers all the time, you're going to create all kind of costs for yourself. But if there is a demand for it in the market, absolutely. I think product lines being extended
yes.
are extremely important.
Yes, I think what I should have done in retrospect was I should have tested the market and seen what it would have been like with a slow rollout versus me just buying, all these things and being like, oh yeah, because two people said,
Yeah,
but then you end up wasting money. Yeah.
absolutely.
Lesson learned. I won't do it again.
Well, hopefully, I think hopefully it'll work out. This is Miles Woodard, and he asked, "What's the biggest challenges you've dealt with that you thought you couldn't get through?"
Oh, the pandemic. Um, when everyone was, at home and it was seemingly going to be, this recession and people weren't going to have money. That was where I saw literally my biggest just boost ever. I just being candid, I had been an entrepreneur for 4 years before 2022. I mean before 2020. But I had only been doing pop-ups. 2020 was when I to be online because there were no more pop-up. I was like, how am I going to make this money? What am I going to do? Because I had about 5,000 followers at the time. They all were pretty much like local and just doing the pop-up circuit. But I had no clue how I was going to make money, be able to sustain my business. And 1 month, I said, you know what, I'm going to spend whatever I would have spent in a pop-up, I'm going to spend it in online marketing.
Wow.
And I think that month I grown like 3,000 followers. By the end of the year, I had 25,000 followers, and I had become a six-figure business literally during the pandemic.
Wow.
And I had never seen those type of numbers at all. And it's been consistent, ever since. That's pretty much my largest challenge is just how are you going to make money?
Yeah, but that's what
Everybody can have a great idea, but how are you going to make money? How is it going to be profitable?
yeah, and that's also a great example of diversified marketing. You can't put all of your money or all of your eggs in one basket. You really have to reach people where they are in
Yep.
multiple facets. So that's a great example of that. All right, I've got two more. This is Octavia Johnson, and she asked, "How did you come up with your logo,
Which local?
Forever Royalty?"
Oh, I was just playing around with stuff. And I just thought it's pretty fun. And I sent it to my sister who did my original logo. And I was like, do you like this? And she was like, no. So she just kind of tweaked it for me and, just made it look and feel more fancy. Cause that's what I want people to feel. Even though it's a t-shirt, the brand itself, I really want people of color to know, like, we are royalty. Like, we deserve the best of the best. And that's what I want them to get when they see my brand. That's what I want them to feel when they see my logo. So that's how you can really do it now on like Canva. I think Canva wasn't around then. But
Canva's incredible.
now,
Yeah, but that's a great segue into our last question. This is a Marion Bolden that he asked, "What was the biggest inspiration for the name of your business and your brand?"
So my brand is built on 1 Peter 2:9, which basically says that as a people we are an heir to the throne, we are kings and queens. Sometimes, especially in society, I think 2016, if I remember correctly, that was the year that there were just so many deaths, so many black on black crime, police brutality. Like it was just heightened year. And I really wanted people of color to know that like we don't have to live this way. And two, don't listen to what the media says or tells us who we are. Because God says that we are this. He says that we are royalty. He doesn't call us thugs. He says that we are great people. We are a great nation, that he has plans for us. Like, I really wanted people to know, like, We could be more. We could be greater. We could be what he's word
Wow.
without having to worry about anybody else.
Wow. What a great piece of advice. Now we're almost out of time, and that's really what I was going to ask you about. But you just answered it for me because it really is about changing the narrative in the Black community in so many ways. And you've already got a great hold of that. And you're just such a great example of that. But before we go, tell us where we can find you online, because obviously if people see this, they need to know where to shop.
Yes. So you can find me at Forever Royalty, one R in between, FOREVEROYALTEE, like t-shirt, foreverroyalty.com. My website for my travel business is built, but it will be the Getaway.com. Just saying.
Yeah, and also you're a great social media follower of both of those as well. But again, I know you got to get back to your child, but we appreciate you taking some time for us today. Amber Jones, the founder of Forever Royalty, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me.
I talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, bye.
Yeah.